Ahead of the construction of the Cross Tay Link Road, Guard Archaeology excavated an Iron Age fort which was on the line of the new road. The fort was first discovered using aerial photographs which revealed a series of dark crop marks enveloping the hillside. The Broxy Kennels fort is thought to date to the early centuries AD, and the position of the fort would have afforded the residents commanding views of the River Tay and the surrounding landscape. Of around 1,500 such forts known in Scotland, only a handful have been investigated on this scale. This was one of the largest excavations of a fort of this period in a generation. A geophysical survey and evaluation revealed parts of the fort. The site was metal detected, which led to the discovery of a possible bronze axe fragment, a medieval dagger pommel and brooch. The site was then stripped of its topsoil. The fort consists of a series of up to 4 large ditches with an entrance facing northeast, with a souterrain into the second ditch on the north side. Souterrains are a particularly important aspect of the Iron Age in Scotland. Their distribution all but halts at the Anglo-Scottish border, implying that Iron Age societies across Scotland were open to the building and occupation of souterrains, but the Iron Age societies further south were not. The souterrain is a dry stone-built subterranean structure. Its function could have been storage as well as refuge. The souterrain was constructed mainly of glacial erratic boulders gathered from the surrounding landscape. We sampled the floor deposits of the souterrain for chemical analysis. This may tell us something about the function of the souterrain. The northeast entrance was defined by 4 opposing ditches, with some evidence for posthole structures present. Each terminal was initially excavated to establish the stratigraphy of the ditches for artefact recovery and for sampling. Finds from the terminals included prehistoric pottery and burnt animal bone. The pottery and other finds will be analysed and dated to enable us to understand how the occupants of the fort interacted with the local and wider landscape over time, and help place the fort activity into its regional and national context. Through the recovery, analysis and dating of bulk samples, monolith, Kubiena and OSL samples during the excavation, we will get an insight into the economy of the occupants, their food and fuel resources, allowing us to reconstruct the changes in the fort and its environment over time. There were at least 4 phases of activity on and around the fort, the earliest being the Bronze Age activity, followed by the initial outer ditch of the fort, followed by 2 inner ditches, with the final phase being the souterrain and the latest ditch on the north side. The dig took place from January to September 2022 and involved more than 18,000 working hours. 10 placement students from the University of the Highlands and Islands were trained, and the number of visitors totalled 400 public plus local schools and universities. Now we can begin to piece the story of the fort together through the analysis during post-excavation work to bring the results to publication.